Well, you can probably tell by the thumbnail that Booster 19 did a thing. We've got static fire footage here in this Starbase summary. I'm back. Hey, in the meantime, big thanks to the Ryan Caton for holding down the fort while I was gone. Kicking it off with some Ship 39 testing out there at Massey's. Got a little bit of a long-range shot here. This is rolling back the clock to April 14th, just a few days ago. But we are going to march forward and see the static fire. There you go. Of Ship 39 over there at Massey's. Feel like you got to break a champagne bottle on the static fire stand or ring a bell or something. Pop one of those little pop-up things or something, because that marks the static fire stand back in action after its destruction previously. Just completely got blown the heck up, was not operational, and here we have static fires happening again over there at Massey's on the ship static fire stand with the new upgrades, a little gantry thing to connect to the tops of the ship and the new test they're doing with that. But good job there, blowing some exhaust out over the Rio Grande. This looks like it was blowing back on us. The wind's coming over from Mexico that day. But pretty cool. Now, actually, we had the team out there. You know, Colleen and Caesar were out there catching stuff, but we were also scheduled to do a flyover this day. So if you were following along on social media, or if you caught the Starbase update, wow! Well, there you go. It's about as warp stabilized as it gets, but this is what I was going to talk about. Gonna work on this. We weren't expecting to be shooting that, so I think it was a little bit of run and gun. But how cool is this? Going around the cloud, seeing Massey's from the air here, and Caesar in that previous clip. Scroll it back, have a look at it. Getting the static fire from the air, because we were just doing a regular flyover, and it just so happened that the slip this day that actually looks like the Millennium Falcon. Huh. Is that the first time anybody said that? Certainly not. Looks like we got some more production site footage in here as well from the same flyover. I think Caesar just grabbed the camera. Remember, we don't get countdowns and that sort of stuff on those things. So just so happened to grab the camera and get it on the booster during that static fire. But what a catch from the air there. Now over here, back down on the ground again, this is a flame bucket section delivered. Looks like they're continuing to stockpile parts for Pad 1 over at the launch site. Of course, Pad 2, shall we say fully operational? If not, it's pretty dang close. But these are the piping that are headed over. I guess, are we pointing the right way? We got turned around. Maybe they were delivering it there. They got to put it somewhere else for now. Back up in the air. I wonder, are these chronologically put in? I don't think they really need to be. It was just talking about the production side. It's not like, and now down to Colleen on the ground, and then back up to the sky again. There's Booster 19 over on Pad 2. Coming up later in the video, we'll see that thing set on fire. The Gateway to Mars sign continuing to hang out there with the sort of steel gray sky behind it. The reflecting pool here in, I guess it's watery glory? I don't know. There's the grid fins. I actually just saw a tweet from SpaceX, a post on X from SpaceX talking about the grid fins. You can actually see on the bottom of the grid fin there, you see the slightly different colored part that sticks down and looks like a little boot or shoe or flange or whatever you want to call it. They're talking about catching the booster with those. I do hope, there's a little venting there, I hope they took all those little stanchion flappy things, the little caution tape out of the way. You can see all of the clamps around the outside here. I mean, you got a big deluge pipe in the foreground, but the angled parts that are sticking up there, of course, ring around the base of the booster. Holding it up, holding it in position, whichever way you want to call that. Got a vacuum truck backing in there. Are those vacuum trucks or water trucks? The coloration made it look like a vacuum truck to me. Is that beach sand blowing on the one side of the tank there? Is it like the prevailing winds putting just a patina of dust on that one side of the tank? That's interesting. Here we've got some Booster 19 testing. You can see the frost, that atmosphere freezing on the outside of the booster over here from Colleen's perspective. Just a little bit up on the top. Looks like we got a full frosty load on the bottom tank and just a partial load on the top. Here's the detonation suppression system and the deluge activation underneath there. Again, remember the DSS is just to deoxygenate, displace the oxygen. If I really need a way to say that, I'd be talking. I think I'd say displace the oxygen and really displace the normal mix of atmosphere from that area, and make it less likely to detonate. Now, under here, we saw the deluge going off on the bottom, the water coming over the concrete curb there, and there was a spin prime, I think happened in there, but you couldn't see it because of the water. Now, there's the top deck. Previously, we saw the bottom deck. Look at the wind blow that. Oh, my gosh. Wow. How far... That's like a serious consideration for where we're going to be able to put the cameras. I mean, you always have to worry about the prevailing winds and where we put cameras around the launch pad, because the plume blows in the direction and the camera becomes worthless because you can't see if the plume gets in the way. So we always have to think about that, and we're even like looking at weather forecast, trying to figure out, okay, here, if the wind's going this way at that time of day, we should get a good angle, no blockage of the plume if we put it over here. But that thing, like when the tugboats have those water cannons and like the new cruise ship comes into the harbor and they like spray that, I wonder how those two things compare to each other. Like that it looked like it went well over the road. I don't know if that's it's a figment of my imagination or something like that, but it really looked to me like that was making it almost all the way over to Highway 4 with those winds blowing that deluge showers in that direction. Here we've got some more activation underneath. Just testing out all these systems. Gonna get a bunch of water here. Let's see. Yep. There you go. And it's interesting to me. They keep doing these two things separately. Oh. I don't know if we'll pull the audio up for that one, but there was a really weird noise. Every time the igniters go off, there's a weird noise. But it's interesting to me that we haven't really seen... Oh, there's the flash from the igniter nest. Nice. The test of the trench deluge and the top deck at the same time. Like, if I'm not mistaken, those are fed by completely different systems, so I wonder, is it just a water limitation? Or why are they not testing those things, like, in the proper sequence, or whatever you want to call it? It's curious, because I really feel like those things need to work properly to protect that mount when this thing takes off. But I guess we'll see. We've got some venting in the gateway to Mars. And in this spot, I don't think we're going to be putting a camera here for liftoff. God, even if you got like the flash of ignition, you get like 3 frames of fire underneath this, and then it's just complete plume, and then forces like FOD coming your way. So could you put a camera here? Sure. Like if you just got extra cameras sitting around, maybe we'll see about that area. But I think it's really going to depend on SpaceX's plans. Too many people just putting cameras out everywhere. And when it comes to flight time, we try to stick with SpaceX plans on that. So we'll see where SpaceX wants us to put cameras for that. But hopefully it's not like right in the line of fire like that. So here on April 15th, this is actually yesterday, got some more testing happening. Been doing just day after day after day of testing. And the big surprise the thing that the commentators were sort of wigging out about was how quickly they can fill this thing. Pad 1 couldn't do it this fast. And how quickly they can put a full load in this booster is absolutely ridiculous. So here, okay, this is already back up again. See, this is a pretty cool angle here. I even like how the booster's sort of like coming out. This is a wider camera from the same perspective. But we're not in line with it. Like we're intentionally sort of at a little bit of an angle here, so we get this sort of angle in, and that bottom of the launch mount is sort of directing the flames away from us there. This is even more of an angle, but God, look at that. You can just see how that plume comes out, and then those shockwaves going through it, and the grackers are like, what the heck? Get me the heck out of here. Did I just call them grackers? They're grackles. Whatever. Wow. Somebody should make a patch. They're just going to do this from every different angle. But this is the thing that you didn't get on Pad 1 because you've got the 2 directed exits here and the exhaust plumes going in both directions. You have this clear side. and your shot from the clear side is going to have this fantastic shot of the booster as it sort of starts to lift off, and then you'll get plume that comes out the side. But the majority of your initial plume is going to go in the two main directions, leaving that like clear alley for you to visually see that booster. See, from here you don't see anything. Look at this, the whole stack, the whole tower, nothing. Even that, the lift that they left in the way, they had to leave that there. It had to have some sensors or cameras or something on it. I would do it. If I was SpaceX, I'd put cameras there if they let. I mean, I would fight really hard to be able to put cameras there to capture that from that angle. But look at that. It really is the beauty of the Pad 2 design, just keeping those forces under control and putting them in the two main directions there. And then from that side angle, from two side angles on both sides, the towers just happen to be one way, you'll be able to see that thing lift off. I think there's going to be the possibility for we're just going to keep showing it over and over again. It's fine. There's going to be the possibilities for some amazing liftoff shots if SpaceX allows folks to, without breaking the rules, put cameras in that area. But we'll see what people do. You know, it's like some people like the Wild West out there, putting more ever. But we will see what we can do because they're getting closer to Flight 12. It's been a Starbase summary, folks. I'm back again. Big thanks to Ryan for filling in for me while I was gone. But we will see you next time. We appreciate you watching.